ladies and gentlemen, once again, we're about to have a panel discussion on a really interesting topic.
So, Calicut actually came as a new entrant into this thing. So that, and we have a role in that, making Calicut as a cluster. So initially, like in Calicut, there was only some few Hawaii slipper manufacturing unit. We started Hawaii slipper, then we started reprocessed PVC. There was only 2 units in Kerala, and the entire Kerala was scattered from Delhi, Mumbai, and Bangalore. So after in 1987, after we started reprocessed PVC, slowly, almost 100 units came to existence. And once, then that time there was a scarcity for raw material. So some of the unit, actually VKC that time was importing the raw material from Taiwan. But that was not available for the small manufacturers. So so that much growth it attained at one point of time, and consecutively the growth was more than 100% in 2013, 14, and 14, 15. So it's a huge thing, growth of unorganized sector, and many of them became organized also as a part. So it's a kind of a this thing. So we don't consider it as a competition. We try to, and there's a coexistence, and we also upgrade ourselves with the competition in. Okay. Yeah. So you know what happens.
You think the market is that big that?
Yeah, it was. But now actually you know that automatically when the number goes up, there's surplus production. So now people have started diversifying to other footwear product. Earlier it was only PU. So now there is a change.
Yeah, I think I echo Mr. Razak's thought. Our business was started by my grandfather in 1948, post-independence. We are probably one of the first startups. You know, we all talk about startups today. And in our industry, there's either small or big, right? There's no organized or unorganized, because it's a cottage industry. The product's a commodity. Differentiation comes in fragrance creation and branding. And that, I think our family realized very early. So we today create our own fragrances in-house. So I'm a perfumer myself. I've been learning for 25 years. So fragrance creation is the heart of our business. And that's how we kind of separate ourselves from these smaller players who have not yet built in the capability of the technology. And that's been the challenge always, and it will continue to be. The industry is highly fragmented. So there are 2 perspectives. For Bharat, it's a small entrepreneur who started. For India, it's an unorganized player, right? So I think we are kind of in the cusp of both Bharat and India in that. And we respect each and everybody. There are about 8,000 agarbatti manufacturers in India today. So we produce about 14 billion agarbatti sticks a year. So, you know, 2 sticks per prayer. So 7 billion Indian prayers we are helping fulfill day in and day out. And so that's where we are today. So everybody is a learning experience, and we are a symbiotic ecosystem, like what Mr. Razak mentioned.
Is that what inspired #PrayForIndia?
No, because India prays with cycle agarbatti, so that's what inspired. Pray for India.
Good one. So, but as you were mentioning, Mr. Ranga, there's this whole debate of you know the India versus Bharat, and everyone seems to have a point of view on this. And if you were to, you know, I mean, like, not have anything to do with the on-ground reality and just read everybody's perspective, you think that you know they're 2 different countries. But you know, across several categories that we work with, we find that it is not 2 different countries. It is many small principalities that exist. I mean, like, you know, you cannot, for instance, if there is a rural customer in Calicut, for instance, he's going to be very different from a rural customer in UP, right? So in your view, I mean, like, you know, how do you look at segmentation? Because when you're going national, and both the brands, I mean, like, operate in categories which are very hugely personal. I mean, like, you know, if your shoe doesn't fit properly, if it doesn't tolerate the weather conditions properly, it's not going to succeed. And similarly, you know, when you're praying, I mean, like, you know, the fragrance that you want is very different from, say, I mean, like somebody might like a rose, somebody might like a jasmine, somebody might like something else. How do you handle these diverse expectations?
So according to me, actually, for my product, it's earlier, yes, of course, it was what you call a functional one. But at this point of a lifestyle product, and for a lifestyle product, Bharat or India, there's no difference. Yes, it was before the what you call internet revolution, a fashion which is evolving in Mumbai, Chennai, all the metros. It takes time to reach down the line to our villages. But now what is happening in France or Milan, next day you are getting the same. Yes, it is true that rural in Kerala and rural in UP are different. But the rural or urban in UP is no big difference now. So it means that the gap has reduced, but as you said, in India, within India, we have multiple culture, and every 30, 40 kilometers, the dialogue or the dialect changes, lifestyle changes, but it's not same as in the West. So, I mean, if there's something almost same all across. But so for that reason, for India, I think it's not rural or urban. It's basically within the cultures, you have to be more specific on where you want to be there. So that's my point.
Yeah, I think for us, Bharat, India, it's all the same, because wherever God is there, I want Cycle Agarbatti to be there. And I think across the country, God exists in a very big way. And whenever there is prayer and everyone has a reason to pray, we need to be there. But that being said, consumer nuances in India are similar. I want the best for the lowest. That mindset, urban, rural, is the same. It doesn't matter. I think in our category, the differentiation comes in who wants to spend more for quality when they're offering something to God, right? So that, to your surprise, is more rural, more traditional for us. So there are quite a few products that sell in Bihar that doesn't sell in Delhi, unless it's sold in Khan Market in one of those posh shops. So consumer segmentation, positioning is kind of very different in our product category, because it's more pious, more devout, more committed, because it's an offering. And for some of them, it's a convenience. And so that's how we differentiate between Bharat and India. For those who look at Agarbatti as a convenient product to continue, finish their ritual, light those 2 sticks, we have products. And for those who are devout, who want to give that extra attention to prayer and God and the ritual in the morning, there's a product for that too, and that's Bharat, who want to connect to their culture in certain ways. So
I will just add one more point. I mean, as you said, the price of the product, so rural and urban. So they want similar fashion, but they want that in affordable, their pocket-friendly price for the rural. So that's one of the major difference, if anything is there, you can say.
So my next question has to do with communication, because obviously I'm from the advertising industry. So both VKC Pride as well as Cycle Pure, both of you have been consistent in terms of advertising, and I think at in some level pioneers in your category as well when it comes to advertising, because I mean, like I don't think any other Agarbatti brand has ever advertised associated with sports or things like that, which are not your logical association, but it has worked tremendously for you. And similarly, both as well as in terms of using brand ambassadors, and coincidentally both of you have used Amitabh Bachchan at different points in time. So I'm curious, what has worked? I mean, like what drives your thinking as far as media and communication goes?
So it's not something that is happening accidentally. It's a kind of a choice. See, I mean, you know that during COVID only we engaged with Amitabh Bachchan, and we actually rebranded our VKC Pride that time, and it was like placed as a hardworking fashion footwear. So when you think of hardworking, we were considering multiple options, and we zeroed into Amitabh Bachchan. And the problem was Amitabh Bachchan never did a footwear brand. So we were not sure whether we will be able to get him inside or not. But we have presented our brand like profile and the company profile. And to our surprise, we got the confirmation within a week. So it's something like you associate with the product or the brand culture or whatever it is. So it's something which should go together. So you cannot think of a person who is not associating with our brand values or brand culture to have our being an ambassador just because he is popular or is this thing. So for same thing when you see in rural north or interiors, when you see Amitabh Bachchan, see they have a perception for Amitabh Bachchan. They have something in mind, their mind. So some brand who is using or who is there in the product of VKC, obviously that value is added to that product also. So it's something which is what you call a choice. It's not a accidental. It is I think a decision which is purposefully or intentionally made.
Yeah, I think my dad was a very big believer in consumer pull rather than trade push. So I think you got to take a decision on which side you need to be, create demand or fulfill demand once it's created. I think Nirma showed the way to many players in the initial stages. So we were actually on Ceylon radio in 1960s itself, right? Because it was broadcasted a lot more. And then we were in Chitrahar and other things in Doordarshan times. And our foray into cricket is an interesting story. So I think this was the India-Pakistan series happening for the first time in 2003 or 4 on 10 Sports. It was a new channel, and I've repeated this story in many platforms. So I get a call the previous night from the media agency, and they said, because those days there was no conference call, they said, you'll get a call from 10 Sports, you please answer. So then I picked up the call, and they said, the tournament starts from tomorrow, day after. The main sponsor has backed out because he didn't get approval from their headquarters in Singapore, and we need somebody who can take a decision on a phone call. So being Bharat myself, so I said, okay, what's your price? I'll give you 70% of that if you're okay. And they said, it's fine, we just need somebody because that slot is empty. So we took the sponsorship, and we realized that India prays during cricket. And we said, we have to be there. And we all prayed a lot day before yesterday as well, and we know that. So, and then the campaigns kind of added on. And today we ran a campaign in the previous World Cup, Pray for India. And then on the quick commerce, we got viral one of the videos where somebody was praying with cycle during the cricket match itself. Then you tag on to instances. Regarding Mr. Bachchan, I think we forayed into North very aggressively. And we've never believed in brand ambassadors per se before that. And we felt, and the agency, typically, I don't know how many of you are here from agencies? Not that many, okay. So agencies, when they run out of ideas, they give you a brand, brand ambassador, typically, okay.
Fine, the secret is out.
But for us, I think it was one of the most brilliant ideas. The moment I met Mr. Bachchan, he said, I've been using your products since 30 years, and he showed it to me. And I was amazed. He says, there's no questions asked. I love your brand. I love your product. I'll do what you need. And it was an amazing experience working with him for those many years. And a thorough gentleman, a statesman. It did elevate the brand to a great extent in our non-South markets, gave us the foothold that we required. And so now our consumers are our brand ambassadors. Yeah.
So, moving on to e-commerce, I noticed that both of you are available on Amazon as well as on Flipkart and most of the digital platforms. And clearly I'm certain that over a period of time, today I buy footwear from online, and I buy agarbattis also online. And I'm certain that there are more people, every day there is going to be an increase. But how do you see this, working for you?
See, as a brand on e-commerce, actually, we are not very strong. In the sense, in India, the overall that footwear category is somewhere in the range of 5% for the footwear business.
Okay.
So, but when you consider some other markets like abroad or west, so the things are different. So here still the consumer whom we cater is still are preferring offline buying. Yes, we are seriously planning for online, but there are some products which we are developing for the youth. Basically that sporty fashion brand which we call as Dibongo. And that is actually we are thinking of making it as a complete online and store brand as it is. So it means like that same thing will be available from the shelf or on online also. And there's no competition between these two channels.
Okay.
So because majorly, I mean now if you see our regular brand, we are present in almost more than 150,000 retail outlets.
Right.
Any e-commerce solution, if you consider it, you cannot reach to so much of audience with this current format. And another thing that the e-commerce, I happened to attend a meeting in Hong Kong where the major e-commerce players from India, everybody is like really bleeding with the e-commerce business. Because the return on e-commerce, especially for fashion product, is very, very high. See, there's I think, humorous comment by one of the major brand. See, I'm returning, I'm ordering 4 and I'm returning 3. So why you have returned? No, the other person is doing that, so I am also doing that. So this become a habit in e-commerce. So we need a what you call a clear strategy for making your e-commerce business a really successful one. Yes, if you have your profit margin is quite high, it is very easy to become successful. But for a product like ours, which is basically catered for the mass market, the gap is very low, and especially the courier charges actually outgoes the retail margin. So that means there is the viability with that business is not there, plus the reach is not there. But definitely we are not against e-commerce. Definitely we are working on it too, and there also our strategy will be the same thing, not at a high price, then discount, then give the product. It's a honest priced product for any consumer of for that product.
Okay.
Good. Just to understand the audience, any marketeers here? Digital marketing, marketeers? All right, great. So I'm going through this whole quandary between performance marketing and branding. And any agency I pitch to try to convince exactly like what Mr. Razak said about lifetime value of a customer. Don't look at that one courier charge, but in their lifetime, you're done, kind of a thing. So that's where I am now. Where to invest, on media, on television, on digital marketing, on Instagram, on Facebook. What do we do? Do we tell stories? Do we get into influencers now? Because everybody is now talking about influencer marketing. So that quandary exists. However, quick commerce has suddenly exploded. Convenience has become the order of the day, and hyper-personalization is where we are. So I've created an opportunity on our cycle.in website where you can personalize, you can create 1 million combinations of fragrances. You can create your own fragrance and your own packaging and get it delivered home, right? So, and I think that's the future, and that's the opportunity. And then Nike showed us personalization as an opportunity. You can customize your shoes, and that's where I started, with my golf shoes 15 years ago, and that's when I got the idea that the whole internet and the way the country is expanding with information, 5G has become a reality, quantum computing is just on the anvil. Data and information will be available at everybody's fingertips. Connectivity in the next 10 years is going to increase exponentially. You will see last mile delivery not becoming a challenge. You'll have a lot more warehousing companies that will be doing 3PL logistics to fulfill demand. And I think time for shopping will come on to that small piece of mobile for convenience. We've seen that with Milk Basket, wherever it is available. We've seen that with Instamart. We've seen that. So I think every brand has to have a presence on e-commerce, needs to figure out their working model, needs to create products like how the modern trades showed us the way. 15 years ago, when I came in into the business, I never believed that modern trade can become such a big opportunity. Not just from a consumption standpoint, but from consumer insight standpoint. Today, because of e-commerce, I'm able to get so much more insights from consumers, their buying behavior, what they're looking at, what they're buying, who's looking at what packaging excites them. The connect is far, far greater, unlike offline, where it's become purely transactional, and then you show them an ad and hope that they remember when they go to the shop. So yeah, I think it is expensive for sure. There are ways to handle that, but you need to learn how to tell your story better. Storytelling is a lesson I've learned once I got to the e-com space from new unorganized players.
No, I think one thing is for sure that at the end of the day, digital is just another medium. And I remember 20 years back, 23 years back, when I just graduated, done my post-graduation and I joined advertising. At that time, everyone would say, television is going to go, because it was just, digital was just dawning. Everybody wanted to have a website, and everybody was like, in another 5 years, there's not going to be any television. In 3 years, there's not going to be any print. Today, there is still print, still exists, print still has value, television still has value. Nothing ever gets replaced. You just add to it.
But again, it relates to culture. If you see West, most of the print media is now converted into online. But in India, it's not yet. It's still increasing.
Because there's so many Indias. Yes. So, it's very interesting.
And again, so the social media or the digital media is two-way. Correct. So that's a major positive and negative.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, but I liked one point that Mr. Ranga made, where, using your spends on digital media to get insights into consumers. Correct. And I think that is tremendous. And I'm sure, sir, for you as well, just looking at the footwear that is trending on social media, whether it's,
yeah, that's what. Actually, currently we are not catering to that segment. So right. I think our target audience is completely different as of now. But definitely we are working on it, and soon we will see we'll be very strong in social media also. This is digital media also.
But if something is trending, eventually it will come down to definitely. Your audience. And today, all audiences are on digital to a large extent.
Especially youth.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I've shared this data on many medium. What's happened is, in the quest to grow, I used initially social media to acquire new customers, and that was a mistake. What I've realized is my existing customers, if they connect with me on social, their affinity to stay with my brand increases by 60%. And my products are 10 rupees, sir, per pack. I sell typically, that's my highest selling brand, Cycle 3-in-1, and I sell it at 50 rupees. But the challenge has always been on television advertising is how do you convert awareness to RTB, to a reason to buy, right? How do you convert? And I see that conversion becoming a lot higher if they're connected to me with all three, right? Offline, online, and in-store. Yes. So in-store has become extremely important now, as well as a medium of advertising. So it's digital, television, and print, and radio, and in-store, all three. So
it has to come and conclude in that.
It has to come. Because no matter what you do, when they walk into a store, it could be your store in Amazon, where there's a sponsored ad right next to your product that they click through and leave you. Or it could be in a store where the retailer tells them, no, don't buy this, this is better. Or it could be somebody who's merchandised your brand better in a Reliance or a DMart. So it's all three. So it never ends till actually you go home, and then the housewife would tell him, why did you bring this, bring that? Go back and get me a cycle. So then my job is done.
She's the ultimate.
And then my job is done. So.
Okay, we just come to the last question. Looking online, both of you have plans of taking not plans, you guys have taken the brand internationally. And what is remarkable is that it's not, India has always been an export story for many categories. But to do it on the strength of your own brands, I think that is the biggest pride, pun intended, to actually be Indian and to go abroad and say, I'm Indian, but I'm still great, I'm fantastic, you have to buy me. I just want to learn about your experiences in that context, and how has building a brand in India helped you, or has it helped you build the brand abroad?
It's something like you say jokes. I mean, if you have like done driving in Bangalore or some major cities, you can drive anywhere. Just like that, if you have done business in India and if you are successful, you can do business anywhere. Because as we already discussed, India is not one India. It's a different culture, different I think people and different behavior. So you have already made that successful, or you have already tested that, and you have become successful. So it's not, now it's only thing how you are going to present it overseas. Like if you are for Africa, what you are going to present, or if you are going from other Asian countries, how you are going to present. So it's some, once you have done this experiment in India, then it is very easy. So now there is a major thing is there that, see, now there is three major area where the products are sold. Like one is China, the other one is India, and other one is the West. So West, they are very strong in the branding. China is not strong in the branding. They are purely based on price and fashion, or the product features. And India now have a very good scope for branding, because many Indian brands are known outside and they are known for their quality also. So if you can build a brand abroad, that thing that will be like sustainable, and it will go for a long time. Because China, they'll compete you only with the price. There's actually you cannot except for some mobile brands, you can't see any world renowned brands from China. So all brands are like from other places, like you take Japan, Korea, or other places, not from China. So I think once you work on the brand building and the product you already tested in India, all the places, I mean, it's very good opportunity for you abroad also.
Yeah. So we export to about 75 countries. We are the largest exporter as well. But that being said, challenges are innumerable. And outside of India, it's the local population that uses agarbatti. It is not the local diaspora. So it's the Brazilian who uses agarbatti in Brazil, for example. It's the fastest growing market today is South America for us.
Really? Meaning Brazilians use...
Yes, it's not Indians. Once Indians leave India, they believe everything from India is not as good, because they've already left India. All right? So they're not your TG outside of India,
Really?
typically.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there are few of them who do use. So what happened is, I think in our category post 2000, the entire Ayurveda, spirituality, yoga, yin yang started to become a way of life, with khadi becoming an important thing, vegetarianism, veganism, that whole mindset. So with that, our category took a leapfrog, right? And we were able to connect far better after 2003, 2004, across different diaspora, across different categories. Earlier, our incense business predominantly was heavily based out of Middle East and Southeast Asia, and partly with the Indian expats,
Right.
but locals as well. You know, if you look at history, look at our scriptures, frankincense was burnt, myrrh was burnt when Jesus was born.
Right.
Across in Arab countries, you see how much of bakhur and they use. So usage of incense in different forms has always existed. Indian agarbattis today has no competition globally. Japan makes Japanese incense, which is very differentiated and higher in value. But Indian incense, with the fragrances that we create, there is no competition. China and Thailand try to compete with us, but it's only on price and very, very low quality. So, you know, India has a foothold. Our category is the fragrance ambassadors for the nation. So the challenges that exist is differentiation in packaging, local regulations. For example, in Brazil, agarbatti is categorized as a cosmetic. So we need to sell it like a cosmetic with all the labeling instructions. So logistics and supply chain challenges exist, where we need to localize packaging for a smaller volume. So you need to vertically integrate quite a bit. And then the marketing challenges are similar to any other consumer product that you would have. And agarbatti has already passed that bridge. It is available in Walmart. We are one of the biggest suppliers to Walmart in the US. So it is available across categories today. So it's no more a category limitation that, we need to expand the category. People are using incense in 140 countries, and I'm only in 75 right now. So
Okay.
yeah.
So there's a lot of countries that you need to build the India brand in, then the work's cut out. Thank you both for a very, very insightful discussion. Any questions that anyone has?
Mike.
Hello. Yeah, hi. My name is Jejo George. It's really a kudos to the organizers for this session. It's really nice to see the power of Indian brands. So my question is also on that. Since both of you have been, have you ever given a thought about the legacy brand? Because maybe me growing up 30 years back, how I associated with Cycle Agarbatti or probably VKC Pride as well. Maybe the next generation is associating in a different way. So have you ever given any thought whether that you should change some brand elements or change the branding, the legacy brand itself? Or has that's sacrosanct, you don't want to do it?
No, how can you change a brand? The brand's DNA, it is what it is, right? Identity, visual, imagery, brand ambassadors can change, but what you are, who you are, will not change, and you have to stay relevant to your current TG as well. So that's why social media becomes important, right? Okay. We use different types of influencers to communicate different ideas, but who you are, what you're made of. Like when people ask me, right, I don't tell them I'm in the business of selling agarbattis. We are in the business of delivering hope. And how can you actually, say that I'll change that DNA? Hope is what we all live for every day, right? A mother lights those 2 agarbatti sticks and says, I hope my children are safe in school today. And that's the need we are fulfilling. And that will be forever. Right? So that DNA can never change. And when you are actually fulfilling that hope, that's why we are the only zero carbon incense manufacturer in the world. Right? When you buy a agarbatti, cycle agarbatti on a shelf, you can be rest assured that there's been zero impact on Mother Earth by that product, right? And the manufacturing of that product. Right? We are completely socially compliant in all ways possible. And all of this is because we are fulfilling that hope, the hope of human existence, of liberty, right? And that's what we are there for. And day in and day out. And that DNA you cannot change at all. No matter what, you cannot compromise. And that's how it has been from 75 years. Third generation now, and successful generations of our business will also continue through. And that's what makes us Bharat, and that's what makes us an Indian brand. We will not, even in the face of Armageddon, I will not compromise on our ethics and our values and what we stand for and what we believe in. We will position it differently to the audience. Okay. For example, we continuously do surveys, and to your surprise, God is cool now. Okay? Okay. It is cool to pray. Wow. May not have been the case 15 years ago. Okay. It is cool to be Indian now. Right? Cool to connect to your culture. Okay. And Agarbatti fits into that right there. And it is my job to ensure that it is there within an hand's reach. When anybody thinks of God, there's something from Cycle available for them to, fulfill their requirements and desires.
Fantastic.
So I think same thing, only the basic DNA. I think what else inside your brand, you can't ever change that. But yes, we are positioning different power brands for different audience. Like, okay. As I said, VKC Pride is our legacy brand, which is like there in existence for last 40 years. And that is for the mass market and the hardworking, buyers. The next one, actually, we have VKC Easy. That's one of the softest PU footwear, which we introduced first time in India. And that is for the home and office. If you are comfortable, if you want to become more comfortable at home, yes. Like that, we have different brands. As I told you, Dibongo is for the youth, where it's a sporty fashion brand. So everywhere we have that value added, that hardworking, honest pricing, and long lasting. So these are the three things which is associated with all the brands.
Fantastic, thank you.
Any other questions? No? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and once again, thank you for this wonderful opportunity.